Hey guys, it's Julia here, and you guys are going to be seeing a video of computers I am planning on getting rid of. I don't know when I'm going to get rid of them, and I could always change my minds later. However, I am going to show the computers that I'm at least thinking of getting rid of and why I'm getting rid of them. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Alright, so you guys see that this is a shelf in my closet. Now, the ones that have this blue tape are computers that I'm planning on getting rid of. I don't know how soon I'm getting rid of them, but they're computers I'm eventually going to get rid of soon. And in this video, I'm going to show you guys all the computers I'm getting rid of, the conditions on them, and why I'm getting rid of them. But the main reason I'm getting rid of a lot of computers is because I'm trying to free up some space and only keep the ones I really need. And once a year, I've just been going through my computers and getting rid of some. I'm not sure if I did last year, but I know that back in 2022 when I was doing looking back and I was going through all the computers I had, that I did get rid of a good majority of computers back then, and I actually had a dedicated video on computers that I was getting rid of in the looking back series. So this is kind of similar, except it's not a looking back because I discontinued the looking back and looking forward series because they just didn't go well and they didn't go the way I wanted them to, and honestly I just didn't see a point in making them anymore. So at least I have the videos from back then, so I got to see all the computers I had. But anyways, I'm going to be showing you guys the laptops I'm getting rid of first, and then I'll show you guys the desktops last. So these three over here I'm keeping for now, and these ones I'm getting rid of. If I go down, I'm keeping these ones. These are more of my legacy systems like XP, Vista 7. There's no Windows 10 machines here whatsoever. And then this is my more modern section. So I have like more modern computers here, and I plan on keeping these ones. Some of them are older, but I'm planning on keeping these ones for now. There's also some tablets down here just because I didn't know where else to put them. But I'm keeping all of these. I'm keeping these. And then more than half the shelf I'm getting rid of. So I'll have more room to be able to store more computers, and I'll be able to have a lot more. So without further ado, let's get into it and show you guys what I'm planning on scrapping and why. Alright, so we're going to start off with Chromebooks. Now this is a Chromebook I got. It's a Lenovo Chromebook. It's one of the N22s. I think it might still have charge, I'm not sure. But this was a Chromebook I got back in that laptop lot, the very first laptop lot I did in I think it was December of 2022, if I recall correctly. And I decided to do the lot because, it was like 5 laptops, it was 5 laptops for $100, and I was curious to see what kind of stuff I'd get, and I wanted some more computers. You could see the screen has like this, something on it. It's damaged. As you can see, there's a spot on the screen, and I did reset this because obviously if I'm getting rid of it, no, we're not. I don't want it to start talking, so I had to click that. Oh, it still is. Yeah, no, I'm not. No, I'm turning it off. I don't want to hear it. It's very annoying. So I'm not gonna deal with that. That thing freaking annoys me, guys. But it's just a Chromebook, and it's on like a very old version of Chrome OS. I might be able to show it, but the thing is that I'm not connected to the internet, and I really don't want to connect it to the internet because this, I just reset it. So like if I'm getting rid of it, I don't want it on my Wi-Fi. So I'm not going to bother connecting it. We'll see if I can maybe get the Chrome version, but odds are no, because I'm not on the internet. So yeah, I don't think I can because there's only a shutdown button. I think I'd have to connect it in order to do the browse as guest feature, which I'm not going to do. So I'm just going to shut it back down. But in that video that I did show the laptop lot, or no, it might have been a looking forward. I think I might have made a looking forward on this if I recall. You can see the last Chrome version for it, I believe, in that video. And yeah, these are unsupported, so there's no reason for me to keep this. It's also not a very good system. It has like a Celeron. I have another one right here, and this one's in worse condition. However, this one I modded. You could see that it's like popping up here. It's all broken. I put Windows on it at one point because I was messing around with it, and I actually messed with it a couple weeks ago, and I actually reinstalled Windows on it with, I believe, LTSC 2021, and I tried, you know, getting it up to date, and unfortunately, I wasn't really able to do that because it ran out of storage and I wasn't able to run updates on it. So, like, honestly, never run Windows on these Chromebooks. It's just not worth it. And the fact that, especially if it's 16 gigs of space, that's just not enough for Windows. Maybe for Linux it would be good. I should have done Linux on it and not Windows, because honestly, Windows is not meant for it. Linux would have ran better. I mean, better alternative, because, you know, the Chrome OS is not supported on this system anymore. Or I even could have done Chrome OS Flex, because, you know, with Chrome OS Flex, at least, you know, you're able to use it and it's still supported. In fact, I think before I throw it out, I'm probably going to install Chrome OS Flex on this machine. That way, at least it's, you know, supported. And even though it's not going to have like the Play Store and stuff, it's honestly fine, because support is probably more important, and it's not like apps that run well on this thing anyway. This thing is really slow. Even on Chrome OS, it's really slow. But yeah, it's just awful. I'll show you guys the space in just a moment. So as you guys can see, this literally only has like 2 gigs left out of the apparently 13.9 that it's reading, which this is literally a clean install of 10, and I even disabled hibernation, and yet it's still using a ton of storage. And if you guys are curious on the specs of these N22s, these are the specs. It's got a Celeron N3050 at 1.60 gigahertz, 2 gigs of RAM, and of course it has LTSC. That is very out of date, because I couldn't even get this thing to update because it ran out of storage. So this thing is just horrible to use, honestly. And if I go to Windows Update, you guys will see here, I can open Windows Update, that it's, you know, it's failed to do updates pretty much. Yeah, you can see it's giving a download error, which that, I don't know what that means. I'd have to look it up, but it's giving a download error, as you can see, trying to download the update. And if I go to update history here, it is failed with a couple different error codes, and this, yeah, 5 times it failed with this error code, which probably means it's out of space or something. I'll do an error lookup, because I have this like error lookup tool that I got a while back, and I'll show what this means, but it probably means it's out of space if I had to guess, just because this thing literally ran out of space. So I'll look up this one too. I don't know what this one means either, but it's definitely familiar. But anyways, we have this computer, and it's just it's really slow. I can't believe it's trying to update again. Like, this thing is literally, yeah, I failed. Okay, good. I'm not even gonna bother, because honestly, like I said, before I actually truly get rid of it, I will install Chrome OS Flex. Maybe I'll make it a video. I'm gonna hold shift and click shut down, because I don't want it going in some fast startup state. Although I just realized it probably wouldn't anyway, because I disabled hibernation, so it probably would just shut down anyway, but I just like to play it safe. And that is a tip: if you guys have fast startup enabled, if you shut your computer down, it doesn't actually shut your computer down, it hibernates it. I do recommend disabling it if you have an SSD. However, if you want to do a complete shutdown and you don't want to disable fast startup, just hold shift while you click it and it will shut it down. Ways you could tell you also have it on is if you shut it down and turn it back on and the uptime is still the same, it's not reset, then obviously it didn't actually shut down. So I always see it as generally if someone has a problem with their computer, you know, rebooting usually fixes it, and not shutting down, because shutting down just hibernates the machine, which is no good. So that is with the Chromebook. There's one more Chromebook though, this other Dell Chromebook that I got, and I think I may have shown this. It was in my second laptop lot that I actually got in the very beginning of 2024, or should I say the very end of 2023. This may or may not have a charge actually, because it was, oh, it does have a charge, okay. This one, I think it may or may not be a newer version of Chrome OS. It looks older actually, but I didn't actually set this up, I don't think. I can actually browse as a guest on this one because I connected it to the internet at one point. I'm gonna have to reset this probably because, yeah. But you can see over here, yeah, 2%, and it's on the last software update. So if I go to the about, which it's kind of hard to see this because, you know, I'm far away, but version 88 is literally the last version, which I believe that's even older. Let's go to the Chrome OS settings though, maybe it's a different version, but let's see, yeah, version 88 is the last update for this Chromebook, and I think the other ones were like, I think it was like 95 or something on the other ones if I recall. It was something along those lines. I might have a screenshot actually, I might be able to pull up, but I'll just say that, you know, those ones, you know, I think the N22s are actually newer than this one. I believe there is a way to see the CPU by opening like the diagnostic thing, but because this is a guest, I can't do that. So unfortunately, I won't be able. I think that's the power button. I won't be able to do it, but if anyone's interested, this is the service tag and information on it because I am not going to be keeping this system. And honestly, there's not much you can really do with a service tag other than, you know, see the information about the computer. And I doubt there's any warranty anymore for this kind of system because it's just, you know, really old. Even though this one looks nicer and looks like it's in better condition than my N22s, it's actually worse, and it runs an even older version of Chrome OS, and I believe the CPU is even worse. However, this one might have more RAM. I think this one might have 4 gigs from when I looked it up before, which is better, but CPU wise, I think it's worse. I'm not sure on the storage, but I may or may not have shown it in that video. So there's that. That is it for the Chromebooks. I am going to be keeping that other Chromebook I have that's still supported that I got from the lot. And you're probably wondering, didn't I have 3 of the N22s? Yes, I did, but I gave one to a friend, so I have 2. And I might honestly give these away to other people I know, or I might go donate them because honestly, they're just, I don't want them anymore. They're too old, and maybe I'll make some videos on them before I get rid of them. I'm not entirely sure. It's something I have to think about. If there's anything you guys want to see in particular, leave a comment on this video and I will think about showing it. So let's move on. Alright guys, so this is actually the newest computer I'm most likely getting rid of. This is the Dell Latitude E7250 that I got. It does have a bottom panel that's like falling off and it has to be taped on because it's all broken. And I used to have an E7450, which was just the 14-inch model instead of the 12-inch model, and it had the same problem with the bottom panel popping off. This also doesn't have a battery installed or anything like that. It's just completely gutted and there's tape all over it. And this laptop is just a mess. And you're probably wondering, why am I getting rid of it? Well, it has a lot of issues, and it also, as you can see, there's like a ton of glue here because the adhesive for like the display seems like it, you know, started leaking and it got everywhere all over the computer, which is, you know, kind of annoying, especially because it's right by the charging port, which is, you know, even worse. And this laptop does have a lot of damage and the screen's very reflective, but you guys can see, there are some damages in that display. It's cracked and, you know, it's leaking stuff. And also, this computer does have some issues, such as there are some overheating issues on this computer, because I had it on for less than a minute at one point, and then it just said shutting down, and the machine started shutting down on me while it was on, and it was literally on for less than a minute. So this computer just has a ton of issues. Oh yeah, the CMOS isn't working either, unless it's just the fact that there's no battery installed, because that could be why as well. So for one, the machine has no battery. Number two, the bottom panel's breaking. Number three, the screen's breaking. Number four, it's leaking some sort of stuff. And number five, it's got overheating issues. And I think it just shut down in the middle of starting as well. I don't know if you guys saw that, but the machine just does weird stuff. And honestly, it just has way too many issues. Yeah, the specs aren't bad, but the machine just has a lot of problems. And honestly, I don't want to spend the money into fixing this laptop. I have a lot of other computers. I'd rather just, you know, get rid of this one. And back when I got it, I thought it, you know, was just, you know, the couple issues, but it's actually much worse than I thought. So you can already hear the fan is already going insane, and the screen looks actually worse than when, like, there's like this weird like bright spot in the corner, and if I move this over here, you can already see it doing stuff. Like, you can see that I think Defender is scanning or something. For some reason, PowerShell's running. I don't know what the hell PowerShell's doing and why it's running, but it's running apparently. And the machine is just already loud. You can hear it. It's already extremely loud, and it does have here an i7 5600U at 2.80 gigahertz. It has 4 gigs of RAM currently in the machine, and it does have an SSD that I bought for it. It's an SATA 128 gig Samsung SSD, and honestly, I might just end up taking it out before I get rid of it. But then again, I don't know what I'm gonna do with the machine, but this thing is just, you know, see, it just shut down on me. It literally just shut down on me, and the thing was on for what, 2 minutes, and it already shut down on me? Seriously? I didn't even do anything. This is what I'm talking about. This machine has, like, serious issues. So let's go back to the BIOS. I might have to take a break for a while, as I have to go do things. So I don't know when this video is gonna go up, because I'm really busy lately again. But we'll have to see in the BIOS here if, you know, there's anything. There's just more information about the machine. There's no battery. Let's see if I can find the logs. I'm gonna go to the logs. So that's just, you know, the time and date. But then there's this log, which shows power off ACPI power management, which pretty much means that a request, you know, was sent by the APCI to shut the machine down, and that's honestly probably because of the overheating that is happening. And if we were to go into the Windows Event Viewer, there would be an event that talks about thermal shutdown. So yeah, and also this does have a touchscreen. It does work, which I'm honestly surprised that the touchscreen works on the machine. The fact that the screen is so damaged, it honestly shocks me to see. It honestly shocks me. We'll let this boot again. We'll try to get to the event logs. I also want to get to the about screen if I can. But like I said, nicest machine, but too many hardware problems. So I'm just not keeping it. And maybe someone else can fix it up, but I'm getting rid of it. I don't know what I'm doing with all these machines yet. I don't know if I'm gonna donate them or what, or just give them to people I know that want them. It's something I have to think about. So if I go to system here, we'll have to see. Yep, there's the i7, the 4 gigs of RAM, and it's running Windows 10 LTSC with the wrong install date because the CMOS reset. So that's, you know, wonderful. And I don't know why, but it's like the fans are maxed out again and it's literally doing nothing. So I don't know what ShareX is doing. I don't know if freaking PowerShell is doing stuff again for some reason. But let's go to the event viewer. So if I wait for this to load, let's see if I can get to the event viewer so that we could see the thermal shutdown event. Although I bet you it's going to say shutting down in the middle of me doing this, because something is maxing our CPU. AKA Windows Defender decides it wants to do a scan, which is maxing out the CPU and causing the whole computer to overheat and shut off. So therefore, it's making it impossible for us to even do anything. Alright guys, so yeah, Defender updated. Let's see if I can find the thermal event. There's some weird error too about saying there's a firmware problem, so perhaps maybe it's not overheating and maybe it thinks it's overheating and it's not. Or the thermal paste just needs to be replaced, but there it is. The system shut down due to a critical thermal event. If I go up here, shutdown.exe initiated the shutdown with that code, which probably means, you know, it thermal shutdown. So this is what constantly happens with the machine. I don't know why it was modifying the registry, but yeah, it was just on and then it overheated, and now we see .NET is hogging our CPU because anytime this computer's on, something always hogs it and then causes it to shut off. So kind of annoying, because I feel like that's honestly a problem, especially with the way this computer is. And I bet you anything, if I leave it sit here, it's gonna turn off. Yep, there it goes. I saw that coming. I said it like 5 seconds before it shut off. Okay, we're done with this computer. This computer has issues. We're done with this. This one just can't handle us. It literally shuts off like too quickly. So it's a shame because it's an i7, and even though yeah it is 5th gen, it's still probably one of the newest systems I have in this list of computers I'm getting rid of. But anyways, let's move on to the next system and see what it has to offer us. Alright, so this is another computer I'm getting rid of, which I already took out the hard drive and RAM, well I should say the SSD and RAM, so unfortunately I won't be able to really boot this up, but it's this computer right here. It's a Dell, and when I open it, I'll show you guys. Alright guys, I don't know what I did. I accidentally stopped the recording when I was opening it, but anyway, you guys can see that it's an Inspiron 3000 series, and I believe I had the exact model on the bottom. Yeah, it's a, well, actually it doesn't say, it would say in the OS, but unfortunately I don't have an OS on here. I will put up like a text, I forgot what it was like the exact model. But I'll show you guys what it does. It will end up, you know, beeping because there's, you know, no memory. Jeez, that thing is so loud. Like, do you hear how loud this is? This is ridiculous. Go off. It has an A6, and the reason I'm getting rid of this computer is because Like, for one, there's only actually one RAM slot, which is kind of bad. Also, older AMD was not very good, and this computer was really slow. And it also has a weird glitch with the AMD graphics drivers, so I have to literally run an older driver just for it to function properly. And the other reason is anytime I try and run like Dell Update or whatever, the thing just freezes in the middle of running and eventually blue screens with like internal power error, I think it was. I'll put up screenshots, but the thing would just blue screen on you and you couldn't even run Dell Update. Like, there's something wrong with this computer. I don't know if there's a hardware problem or what, but something is just weird with this laptop, and even though it looks modern, it's honestly not a very good system, and I'd rather just get rid of it because of the issues it has and the fact that it's just older, and I'm trying to, you know, keep a lot of the, you know, better systems. Even though this is one of the newer machines, it's not a very good machine, so I'm just gonna end up getting rid of this one. I thought about maybe installing like Chrome OS Flex, but I would need to get a RAM and a drive-in, and I kind of took them out to use in another machine that's better. So I don't have any parts for this computer right now. So not sure exactly what I'll do with it, but I am gonna probably get rid of it. So this laptop right here looks like it's seen better days because I tried to clean it and it didn't go too well. But this is an older Dell. So this is a Latitude D610. I got it from the laptop lot, the last one I just did. And I'll plug it in because the battery I don't think is very good in it, and I don't even think it's gonna turn on unless it's plugged in probably. So we're gonna power on this machine. It is a really old machine, XP era, but it's a Centrino, so it's again just reason I'm getting rid of it. Older hardware. It's also very bulky and big, and yeah, it's just really old. And also, yeah, the CMOS is bad. That doesn't surprise me. Okay, are you gonna go to the BIOS? Unless maybe I spammed the wrong key. I thought it was F2, but maybe not. Maybe it's F1. This Dell might be different from the other ones. I don't think I turned it back on. But this laptop is definitely older. It's not even wanting to go. Alright guys, I'm gonna pause the video to save time and try and get into BIOS. It appears the keyboard's broken on the laptop now, so I can't even get into BIOS, and when I plugged the keyboard in, I literally got this error. And it's saying keyboard stuck key failure. So, Control Delete doesn't work. Let me see if I can do Control Delete on this keyboard. It's not working on this one either. So, something's going on. The laptop has a problem. I can't even use the laptop now. I can't get to the BIOS. I can't do anything. And I was able to get into the BIOS before. If I have screenshots or something, I'll post them, but the system has that Centrino and a gig of RAM and no drive, and it seems like the system's useless now because the battery's going bad, the keyboard doesn't work anymore, even though it literally just worked a couple weeks ago when I pulled the system out. So I don't know what happened, and it won't even accept, like, plugging in a keyboard. Like, I tried plugging in a keyboard, it doesn't even work. The system is just borked, and I don't know how, but because it's borked, I can't even get it to do anything. Like, the F keys don't work, it won't go past that screen, it's just broken now. Yeah, the system just broke. It was never doing this before, so I guess that's another reason to get rid of it. I can't even get the thing to power on correctly anymore, so I guess this one's definitely, gonna go to e-waste. I'm probably just honestly gonna e-waste all these computers because they're just so old that, you know, they're old and some of them have issues, and this one just doesn't even want to work anymore. So I guess, you know, that's that. What a shame. If I was going to keep it, that would have sucked, but I'm getting rid of it, so it's whatever. But anyways, next laptop. So we have another Dell laptop right here, as you guys can see, and I'm going to open this one up, and I've actually shown this on a video before, the Dell Latitude D531. In fact, I actually had a computer adventure planned for this that I recorded in, like, I believe it was January of 2020. And in that video, I did an adventure on it. You know, I reinstalled Windows, I put 7 on it, I eventually upgraded it to 10, and let me tell you, it ran horrible on 10, and little did I know the hard drive in it was failing. I think it might have been failing back then, I'm not sure, but it was failing later on. And later on, I ended up showing this computer and like a looking back, and I installed Vista on it, and it was going to be my Vista machine. But because I got the Latitude D620 from the lot, I decided to have that replace this computer, and I'm actually running Windows 7 because I already have like another Vista machine, which is a ThinkPad T61, and I think it fits Vista well. So that's actually my Vista machine right now, and this one also has a serial port, and I actually had to use it once on my network switches to configure them when I messed up configuration, and that was the only way I could get into the switches was serial port, but the D620 actually has a serial port as well, so I'm able to use that machine, and it has Windows 7 and, you know, all the proper stuff. But if I power this one on, I believe, it has no hard drive. We'll check the RAM. I forgot how much. It might have like a gig, I think, because I took out some of the RAM, and I swapped the RAM between it and the D620. Although I think the D620 had like 2, I'm not sure. I might have just put in one of the sticks and didn't put the other one in. That way it at least posts, so people don't think, oh, this computer is e-waste because it doesn't work. But really it's just, it, you know, wouldn't have RAM. So as you can see, it's complaining about the drive because I took the drive out and saying no boot device, F2. And this one, the keyboard works. Even though I spammed F2, it didn't want to go to the BIOS initially, which is weird. It's actually on a 2013 BIOS, so I guess the BIOS was updated. I'm not sure if I had updated it or if it was just already updated, because this did come from a computer shop, which there was a sketchy computer shop, and I was actually supposed to make a video on that, and I hadn't. So if you guys want to see a video on that, let me know. But I have some of their scripts, and let me just tell you, they do some pretty sketchy stuff to their installs. So this computer has a AMD dual core. So it's an AMD CPU, which is another reason I'm getting rid of it, because, you know, AMD just, I don't know what to say about them. Their processors back in the day were not very good. This does have a gig of RAM from what I could see, and it's DDR2. And this is just more information about the machine. It does have a battery. I don't know how good it is, but it does have a battery. So yeah, it says it's reaching the end of its usable life, so I guess it's starting to die, and that's the wrong date as well. I don't know why every single computer I've like worked on recently and reinstalled and stuff always says it's December 2019. Like every single one does that for whatever reason. And even if I install Windows 7, it's doing that. So it's kind of strange. But this is just more information on the BIOS. I know I went through this before probably, but this laptop, honestly, I mean, I'm sure it can make a good legacy machine. It's just I have too many computers and I don't really need it. It might run better on like Windows XP, in my opinion. But I have so many XP laptops, so like I just don't see the need to keep this computer around. So like, sure, it works, but I definitely took some parts from it, and going to probably, you know, send this off to let's see, let's exit the setup. Send this off to e-waste. Hopefully someone will take it and pick it up and maybe make it their legacy system or something. But that's this computer. I mean, it's something, but I'd rather keep the D620. It's a lot, you know, thinner. It doesn't have the weird bulky bezels like this one, and it's Intel instead of AMD. It is, I believe, it is a Core 2 Duo, but it's still, you know, decent. So this computer is going to go. I was going to keep it, but then, you know, I decided not to for, like, in favor for the D620. Alright guys, now we have a Toshiba. Now this is another laptop that I got from the very first lot I did back in 2022. And this is another Satellite C655. Now this one is the first generation C655. And you're probably wondering, well, why am I getting rid of this one? I will say this. This one does work. There's nothing wrong with it. The main reason I'm most likely getting rid of this one is I have a second gen C655, which is a lot better. Oh, we can see the battery died the last time because this does have a bad battery in it because I took it from the Celeron C655 I got at one point, because I have a Celeron one, which I'm also getting rid of that one too. I might end up showing that one next. I'm not sure. But you guys could see here, this is the other one, and it has an i3 M380. What just happened? It just switched the theme on us for some reason. That's very annoying. I'm gonna have to switch it back, so give me a second. Okay, there we go. It switched back on its own. I don't know why it did that. But it has an i3 M380 at 2.53 gigahertz and 4 gigs of RAM. And we're running 7 Enterprise on it because I have my up-to-date 7 ISO. I made a professional and an Enterprise one. And this machine isn't bad. I would definitely say, like, yeah, it is a first gen, but, you know, it does work. And I actually have a plan that I was going to give it to someone that needed a new computer because their computer broke because they have a laptop that has a broken screen, and I believe it's actually even older than this computer is. So my plan was to give them this computer to replace that computer. However, it's not happened yet, and honestly, I'm not sure if it will or not, but hopefully it does because they really could, you know, use another computer. I don't know what it's doing, but something's using resources from the looks of it. It's just it's hard to read this, but the system idle process, and it looks like trusted installer. Yeah, trusted installer. It's probably updating. It's probably doing like a Defender update, and this SPP SVC is using a lot of resources right now. So if I had to guess, I think it's just updating or something. Yeah, I see Edge update. So it's probably just updating stuff, even though Edge isn't even supported on Windows 7 anymore, which is kind of strange that it's updating. Or maybe it's checking for updates, or it's probably honestly just installing a Defender update because Windows does tend to do that. Now I will say this for the battery, it does say it needs to be replaced, and it's not wrong about that. This battery does not last. It was literally full, and within a couple minutes it already went into hibernation and completely died. And it was at like 95% or something, and it died, which is obviously not normal. So it's not wrong about the battery needing to be replaced. I did tell them that the battery's bad. They're aware and don't mind. So I guess we'll just leave it plugged in all the time or something. But this machine, when I got it, didn't come with a drive. I think it might have came with the 4 gigs of RAM. I'd have to look back at that video, or you guys can look back at the laptop lot videos, because honestly, those videos were really interesting. And seeing what I got, you know, mystery laptops, it was quite interesting. And I think the second lot, I got much better luck than I did in the first lot. Then again, the second one had more laptops. I had 10 laptops instead of 5, so it was actually a better deal. And yeah, Windows Update found something. What did Windows Update find? I bet you it found a Defender update, because there's one update. Oh, who would have guessed? It's a Windows Defender definition update. So, yeah, doesn't surprise me that it found that. Although this install is not going to be kept anyway. Oh yeah, this does have a hard drive, which might surprise you guys. It's a 320 gig drive, and it had some random disk in it when I got it, and it's still in the laptop. So that is not my DVD. I'd have to take that out. I'd probably just throw it away or something because it probably contains someone else's data, which I don't care about people's data. So I'll probably just end up getting rid of that DVD because I don't need it. But anyways, that is this computer. I'm going to just shut it back down, and I'll probably show the other C655 since I've shown this C655, and we'll get to see what that one has to offer. Alright, so this computer came from my brother's friend back in summer of 2022, and it's also a C655. I have so many of them, which is why I'm getting rid of it. And this one's also the Celeron variant, so it's the worst out of all of them. So I'll power it on, and let's actually go to the BIOS really quickly, if I can. Celeron 900 at 2.20 gigahertz, 3 gigs of RAM in this one, and the hard drive in this laptop is failing because I can't even get it to boot. It'll just go to the system recovery, like the Windows 7 system recovery. So it'll just straight up boot to the Windows 7 recovery every single time. Like if I try to boot this, it'll say loading files, and then it'll just go to Windows 7 recovery. So something's corrupted, obviously, and I checked this drive and it is failing pretty bad. So it kind of sucks. It does have a factory image of a Toshiba on here. I'm not sure if it's from this laptop specifically because I took it out of a different laptop that they gave me. However, I have a strong feeling that it is from this laptop because in a video where I showed Toshiba's, and I believe it was a looking back video, it was giving some error, acting like it wasn't for that laptop model. And then when I put the drive in this one, it gave me that scary Toshiba warning screen, like it was gonna reset, and I canceled it, and now every time it boots, it just goes to the Windows 7 recovery. So it also boots really slow. Like it'll sit here for a good while before it even loads anything. Like it'll just sit at a black screen with a cursor for like 5 minutes before it will even load any screen. So this drive is definitely on its way out, which sucks because I was gonna restore the factory image on this computer, but that's not gonna happen because it's failing. And like I said, I'm almost sure that this drive was from this machine because the fact that it actually loaded the Toshiba recovery correctly on this machine, but on the other one it was giving some error. And I don't remember the exact error off the top of my head, but it seemed like it wasn't meant for that laptop at all. And I don't think it was either because that laptop was an XP era machine, not a 7 era machine. So they definitely switched drives around for whatever reason. Who knows why? Maybe they were trying to get data, maybe they thought the computer was broken, but it was actually the drive, and they tried moving it just in hopes that it would boot, and it didn't. You know, there's a lot to want to know about this computer. So I gave it the 5 minutes, and you can see it just goes to the system recovery options, and if I click next, you guys will see what it does. It might take another second, I'm not sure. As you can see, it just doesn't find any operating system. It's just struggling to find anything. It's locked up. And that's because the hard drive is pretty much failed, which is why it doesn't work and why it's all locked up. Alright, finally we can select the recovery tools, and you can see that these are the recovery tools, and it says unknown on unknown disk. This does have the Toshiba recovery wizard, and I believe it does open, but I'm not going to risk doing it because this drive's failing. That was not a very good noise. Yes, it does have a Toshiba recovery. I am not going to proceed. I am not going to proceed. This might actually like break it, so I'm going to click no. I'm not going to proceed. I might try and make a backup of this, but I highly doubt it can because I think the drive's long gone. So let's just shut it down and move on. Maybe I'll mess with it before I get rid of it, maybe I won't, but I am eventually planning on getting rid of all the computers I'm showing here. But again, if you guys want to see anything additional on them before I get rid of them, please leave a comment on the video and I may consider trying what you guys suggest. Alright guys, so I have another Toshiba laptop. Now I got this a long time ago. I made a video on it several years ago. I think it was like 2017 or 18, and this laptop is the Toshiba Satellite L755D, and it does have some issues. You can see it's got an AMD and it's a Windows 7 sticker. Now, I don't think there's a drive in it, so it's not going to obviously boot into an operating system because I removed it. But if I Control-Delete and I spam F2, because we want to get to the BIOS, I'll show you guys what it has. So an A4 3305M AP with Radeon HD graphics at 1.40 gigahertz. It has 4 gigs of RAM in this. Does have an optical drive, somehow has the right date, which is interesting. I guess the CMOS is still good in this computer because when I pulled it back out after a couple of years, it still had the right date, which is honestly crazy because there's no battery in this laptop either. So the issue with this laptop is, well, it's got a broken part right here because I was trying to take it apart. The fan is broken in it. Anytime the fan runs, you hear that. Yep, there it goes. That's the issue with this laptop. The fan is bad and it's very obnoxious. You can hear it and it's just awful. And it's just, who wants to use a computer that sounds like that? Hello? That just suddenly stops. Alright guys, I had to BRB a second and the fan's doing it again, so I'm just gonna push the power button and turn it off. So I'm getting rid of this one because it has a broken fan. It's also older hardware, and at one point when I tried installing Windows, it would get stuck at 0% and never install. However, I did put in a drive at one point, and I believe it was the video of the computers I was getting rid of. So I believe in another video I did show this laptop, and it might have been on when I was getting rid of, because I actually planned on getting rid of this computer a long time ago, but I didn't actually get rid of it and I kept it around. I did put a hard drive in it at one point and it was very loud as well. It did work, but the fan, you know, got extremely loud, and yeah, I just rather get rid of it. I mean, sure, it's a simple fix, but it's an older computer anyway, and older AMD wasn't that great. I actually have another computer I'm going to show you guys that also has older AMD that I'm getting rid of too, and honestly, they're just not worth it. And the fact it has a broken fan, and also if I show you guys the bottom, it's actually missing like the caddy for the hard drive, the panel to put down here, and this panel is also missing. So basically this computer is missing a lot of parts, and that's honestly why I'm getting rid of it. And also the fact that it has issues, and honestly it's just not worth keeping this laptop in my opinion. But I will say this laptop does have a working battery, so that's pretty cool. Anyways, I will show you guys the next laptop. However, the clip will be recorded in a little bit as I have to go somewhere, so yeah. Alright, so this is the last laptop. I don't know what order this is going in, so this might actually end up going in order by manufacturer, so I might put this with the Toshibas. This probably will be the last Toshiba then in that scenario, but this laptop I'm getting rid of because it simply isn't working and it's really old. So This one has a problem where when I turn it on, it turns off. Like it beeps and then it turns off. However, I think I know the problem. I looked at the bottom of the laptop and I'll show you guys in a bit, but I think my power adapter is not strong enough to power this laptop, so I think it's shutting off due to like not enough power. That's my guess. And I don't have the original power adapter anymore because I actually had another one of these laptops. However, I had to give it back because they wanted it back, so I had to give the power adapter, so then I no longer had a power adapter. I would have loved to keep it around just to mess with because it's such an old machine, but like I just couldn't. So it has a Pentium 4 ATI graphics, it looks like. Windows XP sticker. I actually was gonna put Windows 2000 on it. I know I did that in one of my other videos with the other Toshiba I had. I actually put Windows 2000 on it, and I remember I ran like memes or something on it back then when that was popular, but I know that's not anymore. Alright guys, I'm back, had to go do something, but anyways, what I was saying is that this computer I think doesn't have a strong enough power adapter to power on with my charger. So I think that's why it's doing what it's doing. I could buy another one, but I'm probably just gonna end up getting rid of this computer, to be honest, because it's a Pentium 4 and it's old anyway. So let's power it on and show you what it does. It already beeped. There it goes. Well, unfortunately, the laptop turned off and you guys can't see the screen, and my screenshots can't really see it either. But it said something about the CMOS being bad. So I might just record this video tonight and leave it plugged in. Maybe I can get the thing to power on for longer because I'm certain that it does have a hard drive in it. I couldn't even get it out. I tried and the screw is stripped. You can see it is charging and it did stay on a lot longer. So I'm actually just gonna leave it plugged in because maybe when the computer's off, it will charge. Maybe I'll get lucky. So I'm just gonna let it charge all day, and then at night when it's not so bright in here, because I had to take my skylight down, we'll be able to show it more. So I'm actually gonna save this video for tonight. So I'll probably just edit the clips I have and add in another clip after this one at nighttime showing the laptop, and maybe we can get it to do something. Alright guys, so I'm back with that Toshiba laptop at night. Now it's been at least a couple weeks, maybe almost a month. I've been really busy and I've not had a good time to record, but I did plug it in like recently again just to make sure it's charged. I think it is. So we're gonna find out in this video what the laptop does now, and maybe it'll boot because it does have a battery, although I don't know how good the battery is, so can't get my hopes up. But you guys can see that this is the laptop. And I forgot the model, honestly. I should have said the models in this video of all of them. Some of them it showed, but honestly, yeah. So we're going to power it on and see what it does. As you can see, the screen is really dim and I can't even read that. What does that say? Air loading operating system. So either the hard drive went bad or got corrupt. Let's like kind of control delete. There it is, control delete. Let's try like F2. Let's try to get to the BIOS. So it does work when it's not plugged in. So that tells me that the yeah, that didn't work. It tells me that it's not beeping either. So that tells me that the problem was indeed not enough power. It's still not going to the BIOS. I don't know the BIOS key. Oh, it's escape. No, maybe not. Oh, you know, I think it's F12 actually on Toshiba's. I just don't remember too well. Yeah, that's the boot menu, but it's fine. So it does have a hard drive. It's a Fujitsu hard drive. Yeah, it thinks it's 2002. And this is just the stuff in the BIOS. There's no BIOS password. So I might try later, like booting something on it, like an ISO or like a disk, just to see if there is anything on the drive or not. It seems like the computer does work, so I think it's just the fact that I didn't have a strong enough power adapter. I probably will still end up getting rid of it. But there's not really much to show if it's just going to say air loading operating system. So I'm just going to, I guess, you know, move on. At least got to see it, you know, power on and know that it actually does work. So surprised it still holds a charge, to be honest. Like, I'm surprised this battery didn't crap out. Like, that's amazing. Alright, so I have this Compaq laptop, and you guys may remember this from 2015. That's when I obtained this. I actually got it from a school teacher back then who gave me this laptop. And for back then, I mean, it did work, it did function, but you can see it's missing a key actually. And back in 2015, this actually had like, keys are sticky because it had like a Gatorade spilt on it, I think. Because my dad was using it and knocked it all over the computer. The computer survived, but like, this computer's not very good. Hopefully it has a charge, because I don't want to have to get a charger. It appears it might. I'm not sure if it did anything when I tried to power it on. I don't think it did. We'll see. Yeah, no, it's not powering on. I'd have to get a charger for it, or my universal adapters. But I will say something about this laptop is that it has a lot of issues. It tends to get stuck when trying to post. In fact, the other day I was installing Windows 7 on it, and it froze in the middle of the installation. And when I tried to boot it, it kept getting stuck at the Compaq logo, like the red Compaq logo, and it wouldn't move forward, and it just kept doing that. And then after I removed the hard drive, it, you know, went to like the no boot devices found or whatever error message it does, and it started posting again. Sorry, the phone keeps ringing in the background, interrupting my recordings. I went to go grab the charger in the meantime, but I will say this, that this computer had a weird issue where it froze in the middle of installing Windows 7 the other day when I was messing with it, and I shut it off, and when I tried booting it again, it kept getting stuck at the red Compaq logo, and it just kept not moving forward no matter what I did. If I took out the battery even, it didn't even work. Like, nothing worked. So then I took out the hard drive, and sure enough, it went to, you know, the no boot device found or whatever message it does when there's no drive, which we will see in a minute. And I was like, okay, maybe it's the hard drive. But no, I took it out, put it in an enclosure, plugged it in my computer, and sure enough, it said it was good. So I was like, okay, it's not the hard drive. And actually I put that drive in one of my other computers. I don't remember which one, but I put it in another machine that didn't have one that I'm keeping, and it works fine. The drive works completely fine. There's no problems. So I know that there's just something wrong with this laptop. And I believe it did the same issue during the looking back I did on it. I think it had the same problem, and I think it might have been a different drive. I don't remember, but this laptop had the same issue back then where it just wouldn't post anymore, and it was really strange. And in that video, I think I tried upgrading from 1709 because this laptop wouldn't go past 1709. However, it seemed to have worked for whatever reason. But let's try and power on the machine and see what it does. Obviously, there's going to be no boot device because, yeah, I figured that was going to happen. Boot device not found. It's kind of hard to see because it's so bright in here. But there's no boot device. If I reboot it, I think it's like F10. Is it F10? Yeah, it's F10. Okay. So, stop beeping at me. This is the laptop. It's got a single core processor, which is another reason I'm getting rid of it. This does have 2 gigs of RAM. I may downgrade it to 1. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet. I might take out some of the RAM, or I might take all of it out, honestly. You see, it came originally with Windows 7, and it did run decent on Windows 7 when it was on here, but I couldn't even get it to install, even though, like, later on I think I installed it fine, but for whatever reason when I tried the other day, it just didn't work. And I took the hard drive out of here. Yeah, no BIOS passwords, just basic BIOS. There's like nothing in here. It's just so bland. Let's in boot options. Yeah, everything is so bland in this BIOS. Like, it's probably the most bland BIOS. Now it's saying no bootable device, so that's different than what we got before. In fact, I can make it spam these on the screen because I could just do this. This looks like Legacy or something instead of UEFI. That's so weird. If I turn it off and on again, it will probably just say boot device not found again. Yep. But that's because there's no drive. But like I said, this thing wouldn't even post until I took the drive out. So I don't know if this thing is starting to have issues or what, but it's old. It's not even really useful for anything. It goes really slow on like any operating system. And fun fact, many years ago, I tried installing Arch Linux on it and it wouldn't even boot. Like, we tried it multiple times. It just, system wouldn't boot. It doesn't even like Linux. This computer is just really picky and really slow and starting to have problems. So even though I've had it since 2015, I'm getting rid of it. I'm still going to keep the DV6 around, even though that has hardware problems. But honestly, the DV6 might also go one day. But I am holding on to all my old main laptops, and that's another reason why I got the Toshiba laptop again. So now I officially have every laptop I ever made, which is kind of cool. Alright guys, so I'm recording this a month later from that video because, as you know, I showed the Compaq about a month ago. This video is kind of late, but I actually decided I might keep it around for now. Only reason being is someone recently sent me the factory image to it, or should I say the recovery media. So I actually want to make a video restoring the recovery media on it and just see how it is. I don't know if I'll end up keeping the machine or not because, like I said, it's not very powerful. It only has a core and 2 gigs of RAM, but maybe it'll perform better on the factory image and on Windows 7. I don't know. So, as I said, all the computers in this list are computers I'm considering getting rid of. Some of them I for sure will. Some of them might be later down the road. And some of them I might end up changing my mind and deciding to keep them. If you guys want me to do anything with any of the computers, please leave a comment below and I may make a video on it. If there's any opinions you guys have, if there's a computer you think I should actually keep, let me know. However, as I said, I do want to at least get rid of some just because I have so many, and these are the ones that generally either have issues or are really old. So that's why I'm considering it. Now, I'm going to be talking about the desktops that I'm going to be getting rid of. Alright, so I'm going to be getting rid of both the Dell Inspiron 570 and Dell Inspiron 620, which by the time this is being recorded, I actually already got rid of both of those desktops because I just gave them to a friend because I didn't want them anymore and they can maybe mess with them and get some use out of them because they don't have many computers. And I just don't want a ton of desktops taking up space. And they were also older desktops, and I'm more of a laptop collector. I tend to collect laptops more than desktops just because of how much room it takes up to have a desktop. And with these computers, I believe the 570 was some old AMD processor and 6 gigs of RAM, and the 620 was also 6 gigs of RAM, but it had like an i3 2nd gen in it. And both of these computers are Windows 7 era. And the 570 actually used to be my grandma's old computer many years ago that we got back in 2010. And then eventually I think it was replaced I think in 2021, I believe. It was replaced, I believe, with a Dell Optiplex 5060, I think. And it's a 6th gen i5, so big upgrade. And it definitely works a lot better. And yeah. And as far as the 620, that was given by one of my brother's friends back in 2022 summer, and I just didn't really have much of a use for it. I didn't really use it much, and I'm just trying to free up some space and get rid of some old computers. So, not that there's anything wrong with it, it was just more of the fact that I'm just trying to, you know, do a cleaning like I like to do once a year. So, anyways, let's move on with the last desktop. Now, this is the old HP Pavilion Windows XP desktop. I'm not getting rid of it quite yet. I might be getting rid of it at some point soon. Main reason, it's falling apart. It's not in good condition at all. The power button's broken. There was something broken off inside the computer as well that I think I showed when I showed a looking back. And it's just not in good shape. Like, it's really old. It doesn't work well, plus a mouse got inside of it at the time that a mouse got into my server, so who knows if it even works anymore. I will have to test it, obviously, and see if it does work. I really hope it does work, though, but even if it does, it's just, I think it's time to get rid of it. I'll keep the hard drive from it, but as far as the computer, it's just too old, has many issues, not in good condition. Yes, it was one of our old home computers that we had back in 2011/2012, but really, it's at a point where it's time to go. Like, I was mainly holding on to it because, you know, nostalgia, you know, that computer I've had for a lot of my life, and I didn't want to get rid of it, and it had a lot of history because I believe my dad used it as a work computer, then we used it as a home computer, or it might have been the opposite way around, like, we might have used it first and then he might have used it, I don't remember exactly, and then I ended up getting it to use as my work computer, and then after that, like, it just wasn't used much after that because I got better systems and I stopped using it, and Windows XP lost support, and the computer got old, and I just had held on to it. So I'm planning on getting rid of it eventually. So that's that computer. Now, for all these computers I'm getting rid of, like all the desktops, I know I had looking backs on all 3 of those desktops, so you can feel free to look at those videos for more information on those computers if you are interested. And same with some of the laptops, they might be in looking back videos or looking forward videos, depending, because I know some of them I actually maybe not even showed at all because some of them were from the laptop lot, so you can also check that video too. But I pretty much showed all of these computers in the past. For more information on those computers, just look back at those videos and you'll get more information on them for sure, because I definitely talked about a good majority, if not all of these, in a previous video before. So there's that. And like I said, I'm most likely getting rid of these. There's a very high chance, and some of them will definitely end up going for sure. But I just don't know when exactly. I'm still trying to figure it out and also hear from you guys what you guys think about this, and if there's any last minute things you want me to do with them before I decide to part ways. So anyways, I'm going to wrap up the video here. Thanks for watching. I've been working on this video for a long time, and I've also been really busy in life, so it's just getting this video edited took quite a while, and I'm glad to finally have it out. I know it's a long video, but I did show like 12 computers and then talked about 3 desktops. That's a total of like 15 computers I'm planning on getting rid of, which is a lot, which is just crazy, although 3 of them are Chromebooks, but still. But yeah, I really enjoyed talking about them and showing them, and there's that. So I might obviously make future videos before. I probably will actually. So anyways, that'll do it. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this long video, and bye-bye for now.